So in terms of providing a bottom line perspective here, I have to say is what we've seen over the last few weeks has been a relatively normal market correction. Now I know because of the volume and the frequency of news headlines and the back and forth that everything feels very, very disjointed. But when you look at things through the lens of market indicators, historical indicators, and sentiment indicators, nothing that's happened so far is unusual and nothing that happened so far is out of character for the market. So if we briefly touch on each of those factors, market, historical, and sentiment factors, I can illustrate what I mean. In terms of the market, one of the most important things you want to look for to see if a stock market correction is signaling something more significant or not is whether there's confirmation from other markets. And the bottom line here is that there just is not. If we take a look at the bond market, it is not reacting the way the stock market is to the current news around tariffs and the current uncertainty around recession and economic growth. It's very, very calm, and outside of normal expected movements in market prices, nothing is happening. If we look historically, I also want to say this is very, very normal to have a 10 to 15% correction. In fact, based on data from the Stock Traders Almanac, which is one of the research services I subscribe to, it is normal to have a 10 to 15% correction in the market every 510 days. And on February 19th, this correction started. When this correction started, that was 481 days in. And finally, in terms of sentiment, we've reached a point here very, very quickly in this correction where market sentiment levels, investors are so pessimistic that few forward-looking returns look good. And this lines up very neatly with the behavior that we want to be doing as a team here, as your advisors, which is being greedy when others are fearful and fearful when others are greedy, to quote Warren Buffett. So again, the bottom line here is what we're seeing is, although it feels unusual, is actually a very, very normal corrective process that we see typically once every year to year and a half. And there's nothing that's happening under the surface that generates any concern. Now, of course, I would want to assure you that we are looking very, very closely at these indicators, and if information changes, I will not hesitate to change my mind. Now, following this video, we're going to get into a little bit more detail. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you soon. And of course, any questions, please give us a call.